Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I'm Lender from class D 2022. So this video for fulfill my mid semester. So I will write all summary from my handwriting before. So for the next, let's check it out. So on the first meeting and second meeting, we talk about language testing. Language testing is a process of evaluating a person's language skill, but a spoken and writing aspect. So the purpose of language testing measure the extent to which an individual can use language in a real communication context. So come to the third meeting, we talk about assessment testing. Assessment is sometimes popular and sometimes misunderstood terms in today's educational practice. Assessment to assess or measure the level of person level. This assessment is a true continuous process using various techniques or methods. To the foreign material, but before that, in a third material, we talk about assessment learning. In assessment learning, there are some of point of about that material. There are measurement and evaluation, assessment learning, informal and formal assessment, formative and summative assessment, on reference and criterion reference tests. To types and purpose of assessment. Come to the fourth material, we talk about principle of language assessment. In a principle of language assessment, there are 7 points: are validity, reliability, fairness, washback, authenticity, and transparency. Explanation: in a 5 meeting, we talk about designing classroom language test. Designing classroom language test is the language test design process in the process of creating a language to measure students' ability, which focus on the validity and effectiveness of measuring student learning progress. This test aims to measure students' ability in various aspects of language, and the test must be accordance with the student's ability. And there's a material, there are types of them. There's some of first type, the language proficiency. These tests are designed to evaluate students' ability to learn a foreign language. This means student ability to exposure to foreign language other than their mother tongue, such as pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Next, language skill test assess overall language ability, including reading, writing, speaking, and listening skill, and so on. And the next point is principal step to test. The next point, there are practical step to test contraction. There are some points. First point is assessing clear and ambiguous objectives. The second, developing a specification, the outline, what will be tested, and so on. So in the 6th meeting, we talk about standard-based assessment. In a standard-based assessment is a way to evaluate student performance using predetermined standard that usually include competency that students should have in a particular area. This assessment aims to ensure that all students reach the same level of understanding and skills, and this assists students in determining for the specific areas. Standard assessments have a clear measurable criteria that make it possible to provide specific feedback. So, in the standard-based education is an approach that emphasizes the achievement of concrete and measurable learning outcomes. Next, in the standardized testing. So in the standard testing is not based on a standard but also involves systematic administration and assessment procedures. The standard test results are well designed from extensive empirical research and development. Large-scale standard tests are often referenced by norms, meaning they take the ranking of best takers based on their scores rather than just assessing whether they meet certain benchmarks. So in this material we talk advantages and disadvantages. The first advantages, first, efficient and practical, able to save teachers' time. The second advantages, validate and reliable pre-taste for accuracy and fairness. And the third, fast assessment and reporting. This is specific for a multiple choice product. Next, disadvantages. First, potential for abuse. It is sometimes used inappropriately. For example, skill tests or achievement tests. The second, bias in direct testing, which may not fully reflect the actual ability of the test taker. The third or the last point, less explanation, wrong authority. Sometimes the test doesn't have a content validation.